Welcome back to another episode of Serving Up Pitt, your go-to podcast for everything Pitt volleyball. I'm Abby Schnable. That is Kat Flood. We've got a lot to talk about today. This weekend was a little odd, good contrast of two teams, but a sweep and a 5-set battle and another history-making day. Lots of career highs over the weekend, too. So lots to get into. We're going to break down the highs, the clutch plays, and what all of this means for the ACC and the national race, because there have been some other teams across the nation that have lost this past weekend. So let's go ahead and serve up some Pitt volleyball. Kat, I wasn't worried about Duke. Were you worried about Duke?
Unfortunately, I just don't think I've ever been worried about Duke. Just like the iconic stadium. You go and you play in Cameron, and it's cool, and you call it a day usually.
Yeah, you knew it was an easier game when Olivia Babcock only has 10 kills. And Marina and Blair combined for 15, so it was very balanced, which you love to see. And you love to see all the people getting in. I believe every single person on the team that was available played, so only Dockmar didn't play because she's still injured. Kiana went in, had another ace.
Moment of the game for me.
TT got to play Haiti Tatuata for the people who don't know the nickname yet. Sorry, I should be better about saying first and lasts. TT, she's been getting to play a lot more setter lately, which has been exciting because it's been really fun to see how good she is, even though she's still like getting there, but you're seeing it, and that's huge for the future of the team.
I was gonna say, I think it's really important for her to be getting these in-game reps, because next year it's gonna be her.
And if it's not her, she's gonna have to battle for it either way. I mean, you have to imagine that Kiana Din is going to be healthier and competing there, and then you have to imagine, Isabel Hoppy coming in from Pine Richland is one of the best freshmen in the one of the best members of the class of 2026 in the nation. So there's going to be huge competition, but seeing Haiti get the reps now,
so stable, so trustworthy.
And then we went into North Carolina, which I knew was going to be a tough one. I don't necessarily think I realized how tough it was going to be, but Pitt, the fifth set finished 17-15, so it was pretty close. I mean, Pitt destroyed them in the first set. Like, it wasn't even close. And then it just felt like they just looked off. Like, there wasn't anything going wrong. Olivia was getting blocked a little bit more than usual, but she was still just having kill after kill, really, which we'll get into her history-making performance, another one. But it was odd, but also good, because like then you're really getting to see how strong the ACC actually is.
Absolutely. And I thought it was really impressive because of how bad UNC played the first set. Like, we were hitting 313 and they were hitting 061. Next set, UNC came back and hit 375, 132, 194, 136, which is like a decent percentage against a top 4 team, and especially in a 5-setter. And obviously Pitt outlasts them with 313, 444, 268, 186, and 176. So in the end, it ended up being obviously very close and very scary.
Yes.
I do think the one thing, like the big thing, is that UNC actually had 9 aces. It only had 1.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
North Carolina was serving really tough, and I think we've seen since Dockmar Mauritz went out with the injury, the Pitt hasn't been as solid on serve receive. Like, she's been kind of the go-to person for that for the past, or before her injury, and she was pretty good at it too. And ever since she was out, it's been a little rough. And I also think part of that has to do with Blair Bayless has been playing 6 rotations, which I think is great for her. That back row attack is insane. Unfortunately, she's not very strong in the back row, and North Carolina defensively, and North Carolina really took advantage of that. They kept serving either right toward her or right in between her and Marina Pizzell.
Well, and that's just like the worst thing ever. That seam is just, as an outsider, a pin hitter, it's just like when they keep nailing that seam and you're trying to think about all other responsibilities you have as an outside, it's like you get in your head, and the biggest part about passing is like your mental game. So I can only imagine how tough that was. But But yeah, I was really impressed by, we talked about this, we were really impressed by with all the career highs, especially with like Ryla as one of them, who had 10 blocks. And then obviously with Mallorie,
21 digs.
21 digs. So I think it was like a good burner. I love these 5-setters for them. I really think this is like such a good learning experience for all of the younger players too.
It makes them very, very battle tested, because when you look at some of the other teams that are at the top of the nation, Kentucky, Nebraska, Texas, a lot of their wins have been sweeps. And yes, Pitt has its sweeps, don't get me wrong, but Pitt has been really challenged and had to go to 5 with a lot of tough teams. I mean, Nebraska and Florida to open the season, recently Miami, Notre Dame, Louisville, North Carolina. Actually, of their last 4 games, only one wasn't of their last, I think it's 6 or 8. Either way, lots of 5-setters against tough teams too. But I think we've talked about this before. Last year's squad, while phenomenal, didn't necessarily get challenged. But now what's clear is this team, and you really saw it in the 5th set, this team knows how to make in-game adjustments in order to squeak out a win.
For sure. And I think that like feeling the pressure is like obviously a part of sport, but you don't feel the pressure until it's like actually happening, so you can like practice pressure as much as you want, but you'll never ever have that feeling until you're in it. And like last year, like you said, obviously, we were an unbelievable team. We never felt that, like we never felt under pressure because we were just going in and steamrolling the whole time. And so this year, like feeling that like you're in a 5th set with not really ranked Miami, you're in a 5th set with Notre Dame, you're in a 5th set with UNC. It's like that pressure is totally on you guys, and you're actually the underdog in that moment because you haven't participated in all of those 5-setters. You know what I mean? And I find it really impressive that like nobody really fizzles out by the 5th set. I feel like the volleyball, it just even got better by the 4th and the 5th.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you would think, especially with less rotation with Doc Marmauritz being out, you would think that there would be a little bit more fatigue, especially from the hitters. But I mean, when Olivia Babcock is out there getting 70 swings, and it's like that girl doesn't get tired. And then even Blair and Marina, I thought like while they didn't have the most amount of kills, I think they were helping enough to really help get them by, which is huge because those two and Doc Marmauritz win if she gets healthy. That'll be key because I think the problem for Pitt in the past 2 NCAA tournaments that I've covered, and Kat can speak to the other 2. Well, she can speak to all of them, but definitely I can't speak to the first 2. It was very one note. The offense was very one note against Nebraska in 2023 and then against Louisville in 2024 with Olivia just going off, which has worked in the regular season, but is that something that will work in it later down the line in the Final Four? Because it hasn't the past couple of years. So you almost need I love that Marina's getting the experience. I love that Blair looks very confident even when she's missing hits. And I think that's just huge for setting the scene on hopefully a 5th straight Final Four.
Yeah. And even it's like there's all this talk about point scoring. Who's getting the most points? Who's getting the most kills? Who's getting the most aces? Who's getting the most blocks? I think there's also so many intangibles about Blair and like Marina that aren't necessarily points. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Marina has just provided like a calm presence, and I feel like Blair has been pretty stable no matter what. Even if like her passing is not as good as like Doc Mars, it doesn't even really matter because she's still making like small ball plays. Like she's been in the program for 3 years. She knows what to do with a scramble play. And like, those are like what really matters. I honestly think like the ball control aspect, and even just being like, you have that confidence in like the player next to you. Especially in moments like leading up to the Final Four. And like I said about the pressure thing is like, they've been through this, like they're battle tested with teams like that. But back to North Carolina, I was very impressed with North Carolina, one, because not only Sean Ermey is their coach, who was our coach, he probably was like literally like, I have these scout down. You know exactly what to do with all of these girls. I was really impressed with North Carolina. I think their libero, Maddie May, is phenomenal. Obviously, she's been phenomenal, but also just like with their confidence, like going to North Carolina, we've struggled in North Carolina before. It's like a weird gym. It's a half gym. It's not all the way around. So you're like, the court's here and then everybody's like here, but then the other half of it is just a ref. So it's like an immediate table. Like it's weird. We've never had a great time there. There's no Terraflex, I don't think, unless they added Terraflex this year. But so it's just been like a weird environment. It's like the Boston College and the Florida State. Like we struggled in Boston College, Florida State, North Carolina every year. And I love that they pulled this one out. So
yeah, I mean, it was nice to see because, again, a challenging fifth set. And I don't, in the fifth set with Louisville, Pitt really had the advantage all the way through that fifth set. It was pretty close against Miami and they couldn't squeeze it out. So to see them squeeze it out against North Carolina in a weird gym, apparently, is huge. And to move on to our next point, a lot of that has to do with Miss Olivia Babcock. I mean, 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks,
God.
2 weeks from Sunday, she set the school record with 41 kills. It would be really hard to do again, but she did it. 45 kills, a over 300 hitting percentage, which is just absolutely insane. There have only been 5 times that a player has had over 40 kills since 2019, and Olivia has 2 of those in the span of 2 weeks. So while phenomenal, that's got to be exhausting, first of all. Second of all, I still think Pitt needs a more consistent setter because her workload, she had 47 of Pitt's attempts and 60% of the kills. Like, that's just, it makes, again, goes to the one note aspect. And I honestly was more impressed with how Olivia did in this game because I thought North Carolina blocked her more than I think I've ever seen her blocked.
100%. Yeah.
And she still had 45 kills.
Yeah, I like this is going to be kind of like a tangent, but from a professional standpoint, like every team here has one hitter. That's how it is. Like, that's just like kind of how it is. And it's very interesting to me because I've never really been a part of a team with one hitter. Like I've always had like a wide spread, like Giamacas, the Emma Monks, the Courtney Bazarios, the Valerias, the whatever, like everybody's been able to contribute. We also had a phenomenal setter, Rachel Fairbanks. It was just disgusting. Brooke, I think, is such an athlete. I do think she goes to the hot hitter a lot. And I just like, I'm not sure if that's what she's being told to do. But it could be. I mean, she's scoring. Olivia is having no problem, obviously. But I do wonder. If it's like, if it would be better had she spread out the offense more. Like I'm looking at this stuff right now, like Blair and getting 11 kills in a 5-setter and Marina with 7. And it's not like they're great hitters. I think Marina is so crafty and I love it. Like she won the 17-15 on just like a shove, which is great, which is exactly what you're going to want to do. But like, I'm like, how much more of that can be done with Marina and Blair, you know? Yeah. And you and I were talking about this before. We were talking about Nebraska. Say like we were talking about National Player of the Year, comparing Bergen, whatever, Andy and Harper, but like there are no standouts on that team because everyone is good. How much is that going to help them in the tournament or just throughout the season? And how much is it going to hurt us that like we don't have a very spread out offense? Like we haven't seen a day when Blair's got 30 kills, 25 kills. And that she's absolutely capable of that. She's one of the most physical, one of the strongest, hits the hardest. She's one of the best outsides I've ever seen. So I'm like very curious to see how that will play out.
Yeah, I mean her career high is 16 kills, which is solid, but not what Pitt needs right now. You know,
it's also on a 4-setter.
Yes, like it's almost like going back to when Emery Dupes only had 5 digs in a 5-setter. Like the output isn't adding up with how much. And like you said, Blair is a phenomenal outside. I think she dodges the block, can hit through the block better than maybe anyone else on that team because she's so good at it. but and she's getting the attempts too. She's just not. There's just something missing, and I don't think it's setter connection, because I mean Brooke just won her, I think, third setter of the week. She's been really solid all season. So
For sure.
is it that they're setting that they go to the hot hand eventually? Like, I think it always stays pretty even, and then when Brooke or Fish or whoever realizes that Olivia is just going off, then you do that. But like, I mean, these girls have the capability to step up. Like, I think about Marina Pizzell. I know it's Notre Dame, but like, that was her first start, and she had 12 kills in her first start.
She had 11 digs and
17 digs.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's going to be an aspect of they're going to step up in the moment, but like, I'd like to see them step up now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like, also, it's not a kill assist ratio. Like, every game we've won, Brooke has had like 10 plus more assists than the other team, which is really good in my opinion. So I'm interested to see how it'll play out, I guess.
Agreed. Kat mentioned this earlier, but I did just want to repeat that there were at least two career highs made against North Carolina. Ryla Jones tied hers from earlier with 10 blocks, and she is becoming, with Bree dealing with her ankle injury, her whatever the heck happened that she missed 2 games. I feel like Ryla has really stepped up as that like mainstay number 1 middle blocker. And that's not saying that she's better than Bree. I just feel like because of everything that Bree is dealing with, Ryla has been super consistent, and it's in a time they needed all those blocks. I mean, they had 17, which is a season high for them, and Ryla had 10.
Yeah, ridiculous. I think that her level of play compared to last year has just been like through the roof. I've been so proud of her and so impressed by her emotional stability. Obviously, I'm not in the practice gym every day. I'm not playing with her every day anymore, but like, her emotional stability has just like is coming of age right now too. You can kind of see in games when somebody's like kind of crashing out in their brain.
Yeah.
And I think I've just been impressed by her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's really like shown that she's going to be able to really just lead this middle blocker group after Bree leaves. Like, I think a lot of people have been like, oh, we lose Bree after this year, which is true, and that's a huge loss. But with how Ryla's been playing, and then
Abby.
I don't know, I was getting there, and Abby and Dahlia behind her, this is a stacked, like, it might be the best position group on that team because of how stacked they are.
And the littles, like, I'm impressed every single time. I think Izzy comes in, I'm impressed by something she does. She is such a gifted athlete. And like Mallorie too, I beyond proud of her. Like, insane. Emery too. Yeah, like, they all have the capability. I think there's not a single person on this team that like doesn't have the capability to come in and win a point right away.
I would agree. I mean, heck, Kiana Din came in and got an ace on one of her first serves. Like,
and she got an assist. Like,
and she got, yes.
Lit.
It's a stacked.
Absolutely.
But going back to Mallorie, 21 digs, which, if I recall correctly, is the highest of a single player this season, if I recall correctly. Just because we've been dealing with a lot of shuffling at the libero spot, there hasn't been a solid force.
Yeah. Which I'm not mad about.
No, I'm not totally mad about it. I would have liked to see the libero kind of taking control of the digs, but it has been very balanced. But with Mallorie going out there and just absolutely controlling that back row, I think was huge, not only for her confidence, but I hope it really kind of solidifies her as that top libero option, because it has been going back and forth. And I feel like we're in the home stretch. You really need to solidify at this point before you go into the tournament.
Yeah. I really like her at the libero position right now. I also think that her passing has been pretty good, has been pretty stable for them. And then the 21 digs is phenomenal. Go ahead.
I was just going to transition to our last thing, but if you have one more thing to say.
No.
So Pitt went 2-0 this week, but there is a team that is ranked ahead of them that went 0-2 this week, and that is the Texas Longhorns, which I was a little surprised when they lost to Texas A&M, and then I was floored when they got swept by Kentucky. Because
you see, when I was scrolling through my phone and saw 17 freaking different upset posts, I was quite lost this weekend.
There was a lot.
As someone who can't get ESPN now, the only thing I see is these freaking upset posts. I was like, what is even happening? And to be fair, the sweep was a 25-14 terrible by Texas. Don't know what happened. A 28-26 and then a 27-25.
Yeah. So those second two sets were close, but Kentucky had all the momentum. I think the thing
still 3 sets.
3 sets, and it was at Texas. It was their home court that they got swept on.
And they lost A&M, right?
At A&M, which is I think the broadcasters were saying was that was their first road loss in SEC play ever. So bad.
Logan Lednicki.
Logan, she played on the Team USA with Olivia.
Disgusting.
But it really shook up the rankings, and give or take rankings,
forget UNC beat SMU.
Yes. Sorry, keep going if there's more that you have.
UNC beat SMU. I mean, let's see what else. I thought
Iowa State,
Carolina beating Florida.
Yep.
We lost to Florida, like not great. Tennessee beating A&M beating Tennessee after that, but Tennessee was ranked higher. Penn State losing to Indiana. I mean, there's just it doesn't even matter all of those things, but like still having. Well, in the rankings, Texas is below Pittsburgh actually, but still having Kentucky above us is something I do question.
Yeah, so it's to give the breakdown for anyone who hasn't seen my many tweets about it at this point. So Nebraska stays at number 1 because they're undefeated, valid. Texas was number 2, but after their 2 losses, they've dropped down to 4, which I think is a pretty substantial drop after like losing to 2 really good teams. Pitt's moved up to number 3. They were at number 4. And then at 4 is Texas.
Penn State at 25 is just
Penn State. They're at risk of falling out. Stanford rounds out the top 5 though. But to Kat's point of like, it's interesting that Kentucky is ahead of them. I'm trying to see it from both perspectives. And yes, do I think that Kentucky beating Texas is a big deal? Yes, I do. I think I would have been a little. I mean, the sweep is huge too. Don't get me wrong.
I think that's.
I think if it was if Texas's first loss, I would have understood the 2-point jump. But when you factor in that Pitt swept Kentucky, and at the time, I want to say Pitt was ranked 7th and Kentucky was ranked 3rd, but Pitt jumped to 4 and Kentucky stayed at 3rd. So it's just like, again, I think Texas is a more solid team now, or heading into the weekend than Kentucky was when Pitt played them. But at the same time, like when you're just look at the head-to-heads.
Yeah, I've been a little bit. I just have no comment on the ABC. That's been like an irritant for 5 years of my life. Like I can't even.
Well, they're still in the top 4, and they're still poised to be a number 1 seed. They're 3rd in RPI as well, with Texas and Nebraska above them. They've played the most ranked matches alongside Texas. Texas
ACC.
Texas is 9-2 in ranked wins in ranked games, and Pitt is 8-3. So pretty close.
I wouldn't even count the first 2. I will not even count.
Yeah, I mean. That was a hard situation to go into for Pitt.
Never even happened.
Never happened. Forget about it.
I've been very impressed with this group and how Olivia has been playing and the leadership that she has been showing, not only as a player, but also as a person with them, and Bree too.
Well, we only have a few more weekends of volleyball left.
6 more games.
I think so. This weekend, the following weekend, and then Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's 8.
Oh, no. We have 8 more games. 8 more games. Yeah, because they have Virginia Tech this weekend, Cal Stanford the next one, and then Syracuse, Boston College at home, and then they round out with Louisville and Georgia Tech. So only 2 more ranked games for Pitt. And they are currently 9-1 in the conference, tied with Stanford. So someone's going to drop from the 1 spot in 2 weeks. So, but that's going to go ahead and do it for us today on Serving Up Pitt. Pitt volleyball, again, playing Virginia Tech and Virginia again, hoping to make sure that they handle business because neither of those teams are particularly great. They're tied for first. And speaking of top of the leaderboard, Pitt football is number 3 in the ACC and have a chance to make that ACC tournament. They're actually our friends at FanDuel currently has Pitt at plus 1,600 to win the conference.
Oh my God.
So yes, it is. Pitt is on bye week though, so no game to look forward to this week. However, lots of basketball coming, lots of volleyball coming. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast channel, PG Pitt Sports. This podcast, Serving Up Pitt. Check out all of the Post-Gazette Pitt coverage for the latest on Panthers volleyball, football, basketball, and more. And we can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.